Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? Finally,
they finally gave me my own podcast.
Gerry comes to the Low Blows Network. One of the biggest legends of the Irish wrestling scene, Gerry talks to his wrestling friends and beyond about the hobbies in their lives that they're most nerdy about in Talk Nerdy to Me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gerry again for another Talk Nerdy to Me. A very, very happy new year. We're into 2019 now. I hope you all had a great Christmas. I don't like saying Merry Christmas, Dave.
No?
I don't know what it is.
Well, now I suppose it's not Christmas anymore. Like,
No.
are you more of a happy Christmas person?
I'm a happy Christmas person.
Okay.
I'm not a, you've got this saying Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I just say Happy Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, all right.
That's the way I do
Keep
it.
it
So,
simple.
ladies and gentlemen, a Happy New Year to all. It's 2019, and my God, what a year we've got ahead of us.
Indeed we do.
The sheer amount of absolute epic nerdiness is through the roof. But let's look back at 2018. We had a lot going on. We had we started Talk Nerdy to Me.
Indeed we did.
And I think it went well. I think, it got a lot of, good credit to us,
I think so.
But at the end of the day, did we get a lot of credit from that man, Rick Nash?
You tell me.
He decided, because he's the owner of Low Blows,
Right.
he decided that he was going to be the very first guest.
Okay.
That's why, he decided that. I didn't decide that. And I was the man that, made it.
So what you're saying is...
Oh, one more time. I gotta listen to that again. One more time.
Okay.
I love the laugh. I absolutely love the laugh.
It's not even a laugh, it's a cry. It's the worst part.
Oh, absolutely. But we've had a good start to the show. We've had people coming on and talk about Harry Potter. We've had people come on and talk about Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, and we've got so many more shows, so many more genres to talk about, so much nerdiness to talk about. But this week I thought we'd do something a little different. There is an empty chair beside me here, ladies and gentlemen. There is nobody here that we're going to actually interview this week because I said, you know what, Dave? We've been talking to people about what's nerdy to them. Let's talk about what's nerdy to us.
Right then.
I said, we've absolute queues and queues of people wanting to be on the show. 4 or 5. And I said, this week, let's just do something a little bit different. Let's start 2019 off with something a little bit different, and let's talk about what's nerdy to us.
All right.
There's so much that I am nerdy about. I think there's too much.
Do you even know where to start with yourself?
I actually don't. I genuinely do not know where to start. I'll start off with where my nerdiness first came from.
What's that?
And it would be my stepdad.
Okay.
I remember around about 5 or 6 I was. And he would be watching the TV, and he'd say, "Right, Gerry, you're going to sit down and watch this with me now." I was like, "Okay, what is it?" He said, "It's Star Trek." And that was my very first nerdy experience.
Now, was this the one with William Shatner and
It actually wasn't.
No?
I've never, as nerdy as I am, I've never watched it.
Really?
I have never watched the original series. And I know people will actually
Wow.
be, knowing me, and I'm a big Star Wars, Star Trek fan, I've never watched the original series. And people will be like, whoa, why has he never seen that? I was brought up with The Next Generation. That's where I was brought up. Captain Picard, the bald-headed man himself. And I think the reason that my stepdad liked it so much was because he's bald as well.
Okay.
And maybe that's why my mother likes Star Trek so much, because she likes bald men. So she married a bald man, and her favourite is Captain Picard,
and,
and he's bald
for
as well.
the sake of Patrick Stewart.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So that's where I started my nerdiness, would be with Star Trek. Now, a lot of people will say, wait, hold on, you're the Star Wars guy. You're a big Star Wars. You've got a sleeve that has Darth Vader and the Emperor and Stormtroopers and the Death Star and this, that, and the other in it. How are you not a Star Wars fan? And basically, I didn't see Star Wars until I was around about 15.
Okay.
My stepdad wasn't a Star Wars fan. He was a Star Trek fan, and kind of back then it was like one or the other. You couldn't really be both.
So it wasn't a case when you became more aware of Star Wars and you told him, was there a bit of awkwardness for a while?
Not just for a while, to this day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like, even now that I've got a sleeve and, my son absolutely loves Star Wars, he's still, would you not watch Star Trek now there, Killian? Would you not watch a bit of Next Generation or Deep Space Nine or Voyager or something? Now, I have tried Star Trek with my son. He seems kind of to like it. There's so many other things that he likes, but he does love Star Wars. But where I got the fascination with Star Wars was, I was about 15. I was getting piano lessons at the time. I got 5 years worth of piano lessons, Dave.
Okay.
I cannot play a single tune right now.
Yeah, you say that, but even if
I
you've
really
got a keyboard
can't.
in front of you,
I think I do. There's one song I can remember, and I don't even know the name of it, but I just know it's a. No,
you
it's
can probably
actually
go home and play that.
It's an Oasis song. I don't know what Oasis song it is, but I can play it. I wouldn't be the biggest Oasis fan, but
if it's a chord, it's probably "Don't Look Back in Anger," maybe.
Oh God, it probably is. Yeah, there's probably something like that. But I remember talking to my music teacher at the time, and he was quite young, actually. He would have been in his early 20s when he was teaching me, but he's really, really good teacher. And he said, have you ever seen Star Wars? And I had never even heard of Star Wars, don't mind, see it. And now you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, this was before Blu-rays and computers and Netflix and download. And what did I watch the original Star Wars on, Dave?
VHS.
VHS, exactly.
VHS.
And he gave me all three of the originals, and it was the originals. We're not talking about the digitally enhanced ones or anything like that. The original. So all those shitty graphics that it was. And it wasn't spoiled for me. That lovely bit in the middle of Empire Strikes Back when Darth Vader goes, "No, I am your father."
I actually found out a lot of fascinating things about that scene, actually, about how the stuff was put together, of everything like that, like the visual effects and the sound and the special effects stuff recently. For example, you know how Mark Hamill has his black eye? Did you know that wasn't makeup? He got that from a car. He got that from a motorcycle accident.
Good God! Now I knew the bit where Mark Hamill has a scar across his upper lip, or on his cheek.
Yeah.
And I know that during the film, maybe that's the same thing. But basically, what happened was in it, he's attacked by a beast at the start of Empire Strikes Back, and he's put into a bacta tank to regenerate.
Oh, is that when they were filming in like
on the snow planet?
Yes, thank you.
So I know that. To tie in with the fact that he now had facial scars, they would have him be attacked by this creature, Wampa, I think it was Wampa. And he's attacked by this creature, and he gets these scars, and that's where the whole thing about the scars come from. To tie in with the fact, before that film, he didn't have scars on his face in the movie. So they had to do something to tie in with the fact that he had facial scars now. But I remember watching that scene in Empire Strikes Back when Vader says, "I am your father." And for people, if you've never seen it, but it's already spoiled for you, it's not going to have the same grasp. You're not going to get the same feeling that I got, because I never knew. And then you watch it and you're like, what? But I love the fact that the original idea, or maybe it wasn't the original idea, but the original thing that was told to people, that's not what he's supposed to say.
That's right.
He was supposed to say, "No, Obi-Wan killed your father." And Obi-Wan was supposed to be the bad guy.
And apparently only, what's his name who played Darth Vader, I forget his name, and it was the only person who was told this, and Mark Hamill, the only people who knew, actually no, only two of them knew, and no one else knew up until the actual premiere.
Yeah. But the best...
all thought it was Obi-Wan.
The best part was they'd filmed the scene, and Mark Hamill's dialogue, you could have used it either way. So the only thing that was actually changed was the script that James Earl Jones got. James Earl Jones was told to say, "No, I am your father." But Mark Hamill's, "No, that's impossible. You're lying." He's basically saying you're lying. He could have been talking about anything.
He probably
that Rick Nash was the greatest thing the greatest man that ever lived. Lying.
You said that, not me.
Yeah, well, I'll get sacked. You won't. It's okay. But no, to me, those types of moments is what gets me really nerdy. It's just like, oh my God, that's just absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
That big surprise, oh my God. I can imagine people in the late 70s going to see that and people realising for the very first time, like literally mind blown. Literally mind blown. But that was my first. Those would have been my first two kind of real nerdy things to do it. Now I'm nerdy about so many things, but the thing I'm probably just as equally nerdy about. I'm a big Star Trek fan, I'm a big Star Wars fan, but the thing. For me, this might be edging ahead a little bit. It has to be Lord of the Rings.
Now, why would that edge more, like, from Star Wars and Star Trek? Because especially considering the difference in genre, like, it's more fantasy, but it's not as science fiction-y as Star Wars or Star Trek.
I don't know why I think it's just when I first heard about Lord of the Rings, I heard about the book. I'd never, there was no film out or anything, and it was actually a friend of mine, John, who I haven't seen in many years. If you're listening, John, hello. Be good to hear from you. But he said to me, have you heard about this new film that's being made over in Australia and New Zealand? And I said, no. What's it about? He said, I've read the books. It's Lord of the Rings. I said, oh, is it good? Is this a new book? He says, no, it's a really old book. I said, what's it about? And he said, it's about, this Hobbit, and he has to go and destroy the ring, and he has to get through this obstacle and that obstacle, and he's friends along the way, but lots of other enemies. And just as soon as I heard that, I was like, this is interesting. So I went and bought the books. But then I forgot about them. I put them to one side. And then I heard, this film was coming out at Christmas. And I said, okay, we better go and see this. And I said, oh, God, that's the book I was supposed to read. And I went and watched the film. And talk about a mind-blowing experience, the very first film. So much happens. You've got the Fellowship coming together. You've got Gandalf falling when he fights the Balrog. Now that to me is like one of the best cinematic scenes that's ever been filmed. Ian McKellen, absolutely amazing, one of my favourite actors of all time. But that film from start to finish, as soon as it's over, I literally stood up and screamed, that can't be it. You can't make me wait a year to see the next one. Especially
because there was so much detail in the movie in terms of all, like, it had to be 3 scenes later to see, or 4, or even 5 scenes later to see what they're going to get up to next, like, because there's so many subplots to it as well. Did that, even for such a great movie as it was that hard to follow at first?
When you go and see it the first time, I think it's especially in the second one, in the Two Towers, because they're going back and forth and back and forth, and it's not just back and forth one or two things. You're seeing the good guys, you're seeing the bad guys, you're seeing Frodo, and then you're seeing Aragorn and the gang, and then you see Saruman talking to Grima, and there's so much going on. It can be a bit too much, especially if you're not actually paying attention. But when you look at that second film, and to me, the second film just blows the other two. Like, I love all 3 movies, don't get me wrong. All 3 movies are absolutely amazing. But that second film, the fight at Helm's Deep, the explosion, oh my God, we're going to lose. And then all of a sudden, the light comes and Gandalf is there with the horses. It just, to me, I don't know what it is that just makes me love Lord of the Rings, but I just love Lord of the Rings. To me, it is the greatest trilogy that there is, and that's a lot to say because there's so many great trilogies out there.
Have you read all the books for it yet?
I have.
Now, like we had Rick on here before, and like they were comparing the books to the movies of Harry Potter. Is there much of a comparison between the books and the movies?
There's huge differences between the books and the movies. I'll give you, for instance, Return of the King. You don't have that big, massive dead army killing everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They do arrive, but you don't have it the way it is in the books. And
so you're saying there's more modern changes to the movies?
Oh, a lot, yeah. There's a lot. Like, the whole Eagles thing doesn't happen in the books. That happens in The Hobbit. But he decided to put it in that film. And I think, okay. There's so many things happen in the book that you never even hear about. One character in particular that a lot of people were disappointed wasn't in the films was Tom Bombadil. He's like this magical character. He's almost like a countryman. But he's a great character in the books, but you don't see him in the films. But it's like he's not needed in the films anyway, because he's like more of a silly character, whereas the films were a bit more serious. You have those little bits of happiness and little bits of joking around, like the competition between Gimli and Legolas.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. That still only counts as one. This thing was 50 feet high, but it still only counts as one kill. But Lord of the Rings, for me, it's just, I love Harry Potter. Yeah. I love anything to do with fantasy. I love all the Star Wars and Game of Thrones and things like that. But to me, nothing will beat Lord of the Rings.
I was going to ask you about the books now. The Hobbit isn't the book, I presume, right?
Yes, the Hobbit
it is.
book,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
The Hobbit was the first book, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it was written. It was written before Lord of the Rings. It is a prequel to Lord of the Rings, but it was written specifically for his children. J.R.R. Tolkien. He wrote it for his children. And then, actually, this is good. Let's release this.
Because I was going to ask, like, a lot of what's left out from the movies or in the books, were they added on then to The Hobbit? Like, as you mentioned, certain characters.
No, see, again, The Hobbit, the movies are not completely different, but there's a lot different in the movies, in the Hobbit movies, than there is in the book. The female elf that's in the movies, and her name escapes me right now, but she's not even in the book. There's Legolas, not in the book. So many characters not in the films. No, I'm actually confused now. They weren't in the book, and so many things were changed. But I just think that whole universe, that whole Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. Now, Hobbit's not as good as Lord of the Rings. I just want to put that out there. I like it. I have when it comes to anything like this, I have to have the extended versions, or the ones that have the deleted scenes, or whatever.
Well, where does it differ, like, compared to the movies? Like, where's the Hobbit doesn't have that the main trilogy have?
Well, it is completely different characters. You have got Gandalf on both. Okay, you've Gandalf on both, but there's so much happens in the Hobbit movie that doesn't happen in the book, because the book, it's a much smaller book compared to Lord of the Rings. You've got Lord of the Rings are seriously detailed books.
Is that a bad thing in the sense where it takes away too much from the actual story? By having too much detail in the movie? I
don't know. The Lord of the Rings books can be quite difficult to read if you're not prepared, because there's so much detail in them. Like, he would literally talk about a single blade of grass in a field in a far country. That's
perfectly trimmed.
Exactly. He goes into so much detail. Sometimes it's a bad thing because you're like, come on, just get to the point. Whereas other times you're like, okay, wow, okay, this is amazing. You can picture it in your head. Like when he talks about Minas Tirith, the city in Gondor, in the book, it's just the level of detail that he speaks about, and it's this white city, and it's you imagine it before you even finish reading. Every detail he puts into it is fantastic. I love the bad guys in Lord of the Rings. I love Saruman. I think he's one of the better bad guys.
Which one's
he? Saruman he's the white wizard that turned bad.
Oh yeah, he's the one that looks like Gandalf, isn't he?
Yeah, basically when you're 80, you'll be Saruman, because you'll have long white hair and a long white beard, the way you have now. So you'll be Saruman. I don't see you as a Gandalf. I don't see you as a Gandalf.
If I was doing well in life, I guess not. Whatever. I have an army of 1 million people.
Exactly.
With big spears.
You've only got 10,000. I'm sorry to tell you. That's all you've got, and they got their ass kicked.
Not under my rule. Fuck a lot of years, I'll beat you all up.
But I don't know what it is about the Lord of the Rings. It's just, for me, every character, actually, the main character, Frodo, is probably the least likeable.
Really?
To me, yeah. The whole thing about Sam and Frodo.
Does he seem... So is there such a thing for him to be too likeable then, or is there a way about him?
That's what I think it is. I think they try to make him too likeable in the films.
Too much like a knight in shining cloth,
Yeah, well, see, he gradually throughout the film he starts to kind of turn a little bit. He's starting to get fond of the ring. The ring is kind of basically turning him. That's what's happening. He's constantly looking at the ring. It's his own. It's his precious. It's basically like Gollum. Gollum in the movie has been completely destroyed by the ring, and his mind is warped. And to a certain point, Frodo shows him kindness and starts to bring the other side of Gollum out, which is Smeagol. But it takes one small little thing, and he goes back to Gollum again.
He was very close to completely turning altogether.
Oh, completely turning, and then it just took one little thing, and it was Frodo's fault. He lied. He lied to Faramir, and it turned Gollum back to Gollum. It turned Smeagol into Gollum, I should say. So, yeah, it's an interesting story, but as I say, Frodo and Sam's part were the least likeable for me. I loved Aragorn. I thought, he should have been the focal point of this, because he was fantastic. The man who didn't want to be king became king, you know. So that's I'm very, very nerdy about that. I absolutely love the Lord of the Rings. I did love the Hobbit. You know, a lot of people don't. I think if you didn't like the Hobbit, rewatch it again, but rewatch the extended versions because there's so much more.
Now I heard that have you ever watched all three movies like back to back?
Yes.
Extended versions as well?
Yes.
Oh dear God! I don't know how you can do that. I did it once in the Lighthouse family in the Lighthouse Cinema in town.
That's where I did it.
Oh dear God! How can you do that for the extended version? I mean,
I did it. Now here's a little story for you. Where I work, they have these really big Christmas parties.
Okay.
And this year, and I think they did it 2 years in a row. And they haven't done it since, but they decided to have the Christmas party in Galway. So everyone got the train. You know, we shut the shop early. We got the train up. Everyone got the best glad rags out, and there was prizes on the night. And we had 3-course dinner and drink, and absolutely fantastic. But I was very mindful that the next day I was going to see the extended version of Lord of the Rings in the Lighthouse Cinema. Now, the extended version is, I think it's around about 13, 14 hours in total.
Okay.
That meant I had to travel, I had to get the 7:30 bus, because there was no train.
Oh no.
The 7:30 bus on a Sunday,
all right,
home from Galway, pissed as a fart. Slept on the bus, so it was a couple of hours on the bus.
So you got into this with a headache, so that doesn't help.
Literally got back to Dublin, ran to my house, dropped in the bags. My son was only, I think he was 1 at the time. I said, right, see you later. Kissed him on the forehead, kissed the wife. I said, right, I'm going. I'll see you later. I'll see you tonight. Went over to the Lighthouse Cinema. Started Lord of the Rings. Watched the first one. Great.
Right.
Got a little bit of food.
Right.
You had a 5-10 minute window then between the first and the second.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Now, between those windows, when I was there, they had the special stew they served in cauldrons and stuff like that.
They didn't have that for me. Oh. They had, the likes of popcorn and stuff like that, so no problem. So you had about a 10-minute window between the first and the second.
Right.
And between the second and the third, you had about half an hour, so you could run off, get some substantial to eat. Now, at the end of it, extended editions, hungover or still drunk or whatever, I said I would never, ever do it again.
Okay.
I did it a year later.
Yeah, but then you were sober. And it's clean. No.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
I think it might actually be better going in to watch it when you're slightly drunk. I think because it might be more enjoyable.
You're so paralytically drunk at the time. Imagine you'll think about the time, because imagine anyone who would go into those things straight away thinks, "Oh no, 13, 14 hours of the same thing." As much as I love it, it's mind melting. If you're drunk, like you know. Or at least even if you're high going in there.
Oh,
no, we encourage it in the show.
Yeah, no, no encouraging of being high or anything like that. But I don't know what it is, but going to see something like that, 13, 14 hours, absolutely amazing. But it was actually that night, the very first time I went to see it. That day I came back from Galway, was actually the very first time I was ever introduced to anybody in cosplay.
What does that mean?
Basically, cosplay, cosplay, people dressing up in costumes.
Oh, okay, yes. Cosplay. No, I didn't know.
It was the very first time I'd ever met somebody in cosplay. And I'm looking at this person, and, she's a good-looking girl, young, I'd say early 20s, and she was dressed head to toe as an elf. But she was an elf that had a bow and arrow, but we're not talking about something that was store-bought. We're not talking about something that really cheap off eBay. We're talking about something that maybe took her 2 or 3 months to make herself. She stitched it all. She sewed it up. She created the arrow. She created the belt. She created the hair. She created the ears.
Wow.
Absolutely top to bottom. All her work.
In immaculate detail.
In immaculate detail. Literally all the little, stitching on it, like something that you would actually see in the films. I said, this is amazing. Wow.
She must be a costume designer by
She had to have been some sort of seamstress or something, because the stuff was too good. Absolutely amazing. And it was the first time I'd ever seen anyone in a cosplay costume. When it comes to Lord of the Rings, though, I think I remember seeing the first film and being blown away, and I brought my dad to see it, and
okay.
He was, he had his doubts.
No, going in. Now,
going in.
No, yeah. I was going to ask, because you have differences in Star Wars and Star Trek, was this common ground?
Well, no, this was my dad. This wasn't my stepdad. This was my dad. My dad was never into anything. Like
okay,
that.
sorry.
He wouldn't watch Star Trek. He wouldn't watch Star Wars. He wasn't into any of that. So I decided, come on, give it a go. I loved it. Come on, give it a go. So we gave it a go, and I remember coming out, and me and him always used to go to Savoy Cinema. I think the Savoy Cinema was at the time the best movie cinema in the country, because they had that absolutely world famous Savoy one where all the premieres used to be. Now, unfortunately, and very sadly, Savoy one is no more. They have changed to Savoy one. They've taken it out and turned it into 2 or 3 extra screens instead of it being one big screen. So
I didn't know that.
Which is ridiculous, because you used to have your it's all about money. You used to have your premieres there, and the premieres don't go there anymore. They go elsewhere.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Do they not have the premieres anymore there?
Very little. You see a lot of the premieres now in Cineworld.
It's just down the road, to be fair, so it's not too much of a difference, I guess.
And surprisingly as well, they've actually had a couple of them in the Odeon in East Wall, actually, down by the Point Village. Yeah, it's a very unusual one because there's nothing else in that shopping.
Didn't even know there was one there.
Yeah,
Donny Odeon and Nose, and just down the road here.
It's actually a nice little Odeon. I would recommend it. And he decided, he liked it. So I was working in Centra on Dame Street at the time.
Right,
nice little job. And I was running the day shift. I was day shift manager. So I remember my dad would visit me a lot. He used to work in the National Art Gallery, so he would visit me a lot on his break. He'd come up, and we'd have a little chat and get a bit of lunch or whatever. So it was one day I'm standing there, and shop is not too busy. We're okay. And he comes screaming into the shop, and I'm like, what's wrong? You have to come. He's out of breath. You have to come. I was like, come where? Come outside. So we walk outside, and he says, look, there, right there. I'm like, look at where? He said, look at the man standing at the lights. And I look over, and I damn near shit my pants.
What was it?
It was Elijah Wood.
Oh, no way.
It was Frodo himself standing there. And at the lights.
And again, this is only watched this movie once, and your dad was straight away able to recognise. Isn't that your man with the pointy ears?
Yeah, well, my dad only watched the first one. I think it might have been after the second or third film. I can't remember which. I know they filmed them all together.
Movies this stage, right.
But I'd seen them all anyway. And I'm looking going, what the hell is he doing in Ireland? Like, what the hell? And
did he have like an entourage around him or something like that? No,
he was just I think he was there with a girl that might have been his girlfriend at the time, not too sure. But my dad said, go on, go over and talk to him. Now, if anyone knows me, nowadays I could literally go up and talk to anyone. I could talk to a wall. As you can hear from this podcast, I talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But I could literally talk to a wall. That's the way I am now. I would, put me in a room with someone, I'll talk to them.
Yeah.
But back then I was a very, very nervous guy. I couldn't talk to anybody.
I can sympathise with that.
So he said, oh, go on. I was like, I can't. No, absolutely no way. And my dad would have been a very similar, very nervous guy. But he plucked it up and he went over and he says, Elijah. Didn't say Mr. Wood. Hello, Elijah. Welcome to Dublin. Oh, thanks very much. What are you, are you here for a little holiday? Or he'd been filming Green Street. Over in England.
That was set here?
No. He was filming Green Street in England and came over for a couple of days. He had a couple of days off, and they came over for Dublin. He said he always wanted to visit Dublin.
Yeah.
So they came over, and my dad says, my son is a huge fan. Of course, I'm looking going, oh, crap. So at the time, if you know me, I have a lot of tattoos. But two of my more prominent tattoos is actually the Lord of the Rings inscription that I have tattooed on both arms. I have the Lord of the Rings, the writing off the ring.
Okay.
The one ring to rule them all part. And I have them on the inside of my forearms there. So my dad says, oh, show him your tattoos. I'm like, oh, yeah, no problem. So I pulled up the sleeves. They were the only tattoos I had at the time. Oh, man, that's cool. So many people are getting them nowadays. That's really, really cool. I love it. And we just got chatting. How are you getting on? What do you think of Dublin and blah, blah, blah. And I said to him then, I said, listen, I'm a manager here. Would you like something to eat, like something to drink? He said, no, a bottle of water. And I just handed it. There you go. How much is that? I was like, no, it's free charge. Absolutely no. I'm not having you pay. No way. And then he said, oh, thanks very much. Shook my hand and he left. And I said, like, this was before we had, camera phones and things like that. I said, God, I'd love to have a camera. And even my dad said, oh, I normally have one with me. He was a madman for taking pictures of everything. Oh, I don't have it with me today. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So later on that evening, and I remember, and this was at the time when I think it was 1920, I was actually I was training to be a wrestler.
Right.
And Lee Butler was the trainer at the time, and he was doing security in town. He was doing security in Bray for the Border, and he said to me, do you want to come in and just keep me company for a little while in town after training? I said, you know what, I've nothing better to do, I might as well go in. So I went in with him, and we're walking up a street close to Wicklow Street.
Right.
And I'm walking past this restaurant, and all I hear is, "Hey, you!" I'm going, "Who's that? Who's talking to me? Hey, you!" I don't know. The guy with the Lord of the Rings tattoo. I'm like, what the hell?
It is not.
I turn around, it's Elijah Wood.
Ah, you gotta be joking me.
And he's calling me back, and I'm like, what? I was like, oh, Elijah, how are you? How are you getting on? Come here. Show my friend your tattoo. So I go in, and there's a couple of other people there, and they looked like film people. I didn't know any of them, so I couldn't say their names. And it was about 10 people. "Oh my God, look at that tattoo, that's amazing. Oh, lovely, blah, blah, blah." And he kept us talking for about 10, 15 minutes. And I said, "Listen, I better go. I have to go with my friend to a job." "Oh, no problem at all. It was lovely to meet you." And that was it. But
you can say it for the rest of your life. Elijah Wood called to you.
Called me back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I name drop, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of people don't like that, but you know what? I don't care.
There you go.
I just name dropped Elijah Wood, and we and him are besties now.
There you go.
He follows me on everything, That could be a fake account set up by Rick Nash to sabotage me, but
Okay. It's a shame you didn't have the photos back then, or the cameras.
I'd have loved it, even to just take a selfie or something. I'd absolutely.
No, this was like when there was no proper cameras on phones. No,
I think there might have been. It might have been just before cameras kind of came.
This is when Canons or Nokia's was the latest thing. So
yeah, exactly. Like you're talking about the 3310 back then. That's what I had.
Yeah.
Or there was a lovely silver flip phone, but there was no cameras.
Never mind your Angry Birds. It was Snake 2 back then.
Snake 2. My God, what a game.
Yeah.
But I've gone on about Lord of the Rings, and we've got Star Trek, but there's so much going on this year. There's so many new shows coming on this year. You've got the return of Game of Thrones,
of course,
in 3 months' time. Today, of all days, it's been absolutely awash all over the internet, the teaser trailer for Game of Thrones. Now, I took one look at it, and I damn near shit my pants, because it gives nothing away. Absolutely nothing away.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we talked about this when Rob was here. Like, do you think it's better for this particular show, especially because it's this last series, to not give anything away?
They're being very, very careful. You see, the last couple of seasons there was leaks. There was leaked scripts, and they actually turned out to be real scripts, and I seen them as well. I'm an idiot for stuff like that. I love spoilers. I won't spoil it for anyone else, but if somebody has a spoiler, I'm like, yeah, tell me. I have to know. I'm the guy that reads the last page of the book first. I'm an idiot.
I wouldn't want to know.
But I read the scripts and I said, oh wow, that's amazing. And then the one thing I didn't do was, there was all those leaked episodes that came out online. Never watched them, because I want to prolong this experience. And with Game of Thrones, it's amazing. Now, when it comes to Game of Thrones, another thing that I'm absolutely nerdy about Game of Thrones. Absolutely love it. It's a brilliant. Now, then you've got Marvel. The end of the current phase, an absolute end of an era, because you just know yourself that not every hero is going to get through this one. You know?
I'm still trying to get through this whole timeline myself. I'm only on I'm only on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's how far behind I am.
Oh, Dave, come on, you need to hurry up.
I know, but listen, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, like I feel like Jason Quill is my moral compass now as a result of watching that movie. It's class.
Just having him, Chris Pratt in any film is a plus, because he's so good. And Quill, Star-Lord, is an absolutely amazing character.
Indeed.
He's so good. So then when you finally have in one film together Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Pratt, Iron Man and Star-Lord, it's just amazing. You don't actually get that much of the two of them on screen together. But when they're on screen together, it's absolutely hilarious. So I hope we get more of that.
Fingers crossed.
But we've got Endgame, Dave.
Indeed.
That's around about the same time as Game of Thrones comes out. But just before it,
I still have like 6 movies to watch before I get to that.
Well, and now you're going to have another one. Captain Marvel is out only 2 or 3 weeks before.
Only 3 weeks.
I think that's all it is.
Before or after? Surely before. Yeah, surely before.
Well, you see, it's her, and it's about her, and it then leads into Endgame. Now they're saying that Endgame is going to be the longest Marvel movie of all.
3 hours.
3 hours long. They need it, and they need every second of it.
Sure, I heard it was cut down. Like it was originally 6 hours, and they've trying to trim it down from 3. I could be over-exaggerating.
How much are they going to leave out now? Oh, that's going to be annoying.
Maybe I'm over-exaggerating when I say that.
No, I think I did see something like that.
Why don't they do like a Deadly Hallows thing and do like a part 1 and part 2?
Because this is technically part 2. Because you had Infinity War, and this is the second part of it. So it would just to split up the second. So part 2 split in 2 again.
Part 3.
It's like Voldemort splitting his bloody soul. You know what I mean?
Part 3.
Part 3.
Part 3. Horcrux.
Thanos' Horcrux. Yeah, it's the glove. Destroy the glove.
Yeah.
It's very exciting, but not everyone's getting out alive. Now,
which I think will lead to a lot of debate, especially on this show.
Big debate, and there's going to be some huge debates on this show because over the coming weeks we're going to have a couple of debates. We're going to have DC versus Marvel. Mm-hmm. We're going to have the Civil War debate, Captain America versus Iron Man.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and then we're going to have the big Infinity War debate on who is going to survive Endgame. Now, people know my views. I'm a big Iron Man man.
I know.
If he does not survive, I'll be very disappointed. I'll probably cry.
Really?
If Captain America survives, I'll probably cry. Because again, people know my views. I don't like Captain America. I just something, you know. It's like if you were to compare him to a wrestler, he'd be John Cena, and I hate that guy. Well, no, actually, I lie. I don't hate that guy. I used to hate that guy. I used to despise him, and now I like him.
I compare him to John Cena. I think about it. I mean, yes and no, but I think I don't know. Actually, you're right. No, I was going to say he's too strong, but then again, he's earned his strength. So
yeah, like people could
when he was younger, like Steve Rogers, whereas he can definitely appreciate his strength, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, in that sense, yeah.
People could compare Captain America to, say, Mr. America or Hulk Hogan.
Hell no.
But you can't really compare them because Captain America never went bad, whereas Hulk Hogan did. You know, he was good, and then he was bad, and then he was good, and then he was bad, and then he was good, and he was bad, and then he was good again. Mm. Then he kind of went bad, and we won't really discuss exactly how bad he got outside of wrestling. But he seems to have come back a little bit there and redeemed himself.
Yeah.
And he did a lovely tribute there last week to Mean Gene. I have to say, it was a lovely, lovely tribute. And you could see he was actually choking up in it, so like, he is a little bit of a human being as well.
Yeah.
Not too much, but
like
a little bit.
Else.
Still needs to have creative control, but you know, don't we all? So we've got Marvel. Mm-hmm. You've got the brand new Star Trek series starting only next week.
Oh, really?
Which is Star Trek Discovery Season 2.
Okay.
Again, seriously nerdy about this show. A lot of people don't like it. It's hugely controversial with the fact that they've changed so much about the timelines. It's set before Kirk, so I think it's around about 5 years before Captain Kirk appears, and it's hugely controversial because they changed so much. The one thing they changed the most was the fact that the Klingons aren't Klingons anymore. They don't look anything like the original.
Really?
They don't look anything like the original Klingons from the original series. They don't look anything like the newer Klingons from the Next Generation and the films. They've no hair, Dave. They're all bald.
Not having that.
I'm not. You know, I don't like it either.
Well, that's like a mixed breed, but that makes no sense.
It's all over.
It doesn't. It is.
They seem to have listened to fans though, because there's been a couple of shots for the new series, and a couple of Klingons have hair. So I think the release that they're going with is the fact that there's an old tradition that these particular Klingons went along with, is that when they went to war they shaved their heads. So that's, you know, you're looking at it like, okay, that kind of explains it, but not really, because they had their head shaved before they went to war.
Yeah, and do Klingons have clippers? I don't think so.
No, they just use their blades, the backlets and things like that to cut their hair. Probably take half their head with them, but they're ugly enough as it is, you wouldn't notice.
Maybe that's why they have all those lumps in their heads. I don't know.
Oh my God, that's it, Dave.
They shave backwards.
You have finally figured it out.
They shave backwards. Only explains.
And that's, and you know, they cut the front of their heads, and that's where they got the ridges.
By the way, out of curiosity, as a Star Trek fan, have you ever tried to learn Klingon?
No.
There's a
I'm nerdy. I am not that nerdy.
There's a course on Duolingo.
Stop.
That has Klingon. I'm not joking.
Stop.
You can search it right now.
No, oh God.
You can learn how to say hello in
Klingon.
Well,
if any of you, ladies and gentlemen out there, like to speak Klingon, I'll tell you what. Go on to Instagram. Go to Gerry_talk nerdy to me and send me a voice message of you talking Klingon.
Please do.
Yeah, no, we're not going to get anyone.
No, we're
Klingon.
not.
No, absolutely.
It'll be just us two, I think, in that sense.
then, right, so we've got, we've talked about Marvel, we've talked about Game of Thrones and Star Trek out this year. But the big one for me, Dave, right at the end of the year, I wish I could say this was another Hobbit or Lord of the Rings movie, but it's not. Okay. We're not going to get one of them. It is the culmination to the brand new Star Wars trilogy. Star Wars Episode 9, yet unnamed, is out in December.
Oh, it's in December.
A lot of people worried. The Last Jedi, it's like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. And a lot of people hate it.
What do you think?
I took it for what it was. I thought Rian Johnson, he wanted to do something new, wanted to do something different.
Yep.
And he did. He certainly did that. Now, right at the end, obviously, we lost Luke Skywalker right at the very end. If you've not seen it, well, screw you now. I'm not going to give you a red alert. That was a little spoiler, so, whatever. So, if you haven't seen it...
for the sake of it, anyway.
Yeah. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your red alert.
Oops.
There's your spoiler alert. We've already given you a spoiler, but, feck yous. Hugely unpopular film. But personally, myself, I like to go to the midnight showings of any big movies that come out. I went to see it. I liked it. Didn't like the fact that, Luke Skywalker, and I'm going to do this in inverted commas, dies at the end of it. But I think they're going to give us, they're going to give the fans what we want in Episode 9. I think because the first one was okay. People, that's okay. That's not too bad. It's kind of like A New Hope, but it's different in some ways. And then you've got The Last Jedi, and that did not go down well at all. To the point where when people watched it, and then when Solo was coming out only a few months later, they said, you know what, we're boycotting Solo. And that was unfair, because I genuinely loved Solo. I thought it was a great film. I thought the plot was fantastic, how Chewie met Han, how they got the Millennium Falcon, how they met Lando. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But... people are fickle like that. For whatever reason, they decided not to go and see it, and it hurt Star Wars. So now you've had no new Star Wars because of it. But not only have we got a new Star Wars movie at the end of the year, during the middle of the year, we're going to have the release of what's called The Mandalorian.
Okay.
And The Mandalorian is the new live-action television series that's set in the Star Wars universe.
Interesting.
Now, it doesn't follow any of the episodes, or it doesn't follow the standalone movies. This is completely standalone. And the man that's making it, the man who is the head guy in it, is Jon Favreau. Now, for anyone who doesn't know Jon Favreau was in the Iron Man movies.
Yeah,
and he was Tony Stark's bodyguard, Happy. But what a lot of people, and I didn't realise this until recently, that Jon Favreau is actually an executive producer on every Marvel movie.
I knew that, yeah.
So he has had his finger in every single pie in the Marvel Universe. How successful have the Marvel Universe been? This guy is now being told, right, you now have Star Wars.
He directed the first two movies. Yeah, he directed the first two Iron Man, I think.
Yeah, so I have the ultimate confidence now in this series coming out. We don't know very much. All we know is it's about a Mandalorian warrior. Mandalorian warriors are these guys that go around in full head-to-toe body armor. The only Mandalorian warrior that's ever been in movies, or should I, two Mandalorian warriors, were Boba and Jango Fett. Now, right. Everyone knows Boba Fett from the original Star Wars movies. This guy in this mysterious-looking armor, didn't really get to know him much. We're going to find out a lot more about Mandalorians in this series, nice. And I have full faith in Jon Favreau making this into an absolutely amazing series. I just hope that those fickle people out there that want Star Wars to say Star Wars and not for it to change in any way, don't ruin it. Get out, watch it, you know what I mean, and let's enjoy it for what it is.
It is
something new, you know.
That's it. That's what you want.
So there's a lot on this year,
absolutely.
You know, and I've talked about what's been nerdy to me. So what's nerdy for you, Dave?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that's nerdy to me that's very... I'm not sure it's too well known in Ireland as such. But, and to be fair, it's very contradictory to what I usually would watch, simply because I'm not a big TV buff or film buff, or I don't watch a particular series like Game of Thrones or particular series of...
Blasphemy.
But... nevertheless, I've been really into a show recently called Atlanta.
Now, I don't know the show, Dave.
Alright, so long story short, it's about it's written and starred by Donald Glover, who you know as the guy who starred as
is Lando in the new Star Wars. Yeah,
that's it. So
and he wrote it as well, did he?
He did. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's directed by Hiro Mayu, who's a half Japanese director. He's American, but he has Chinese. He has Japanese parents, and I think they're based in California.
Okay.
And basically, it's about this guy called Ern who basically he's dropped out of college. He's gone between the mother of his child's house and his parents' house, and he's basically the city of Atlanta itself is a character in itself, because you have all these shots looking down the ground of all the basketball courts and the roads and stuff like that. And he finds out his cousin is an inspiring rapper, and he tries to manage him. But what's amazing about the show, like, it's very, although it has a narrative to it and a plot to it, but it goes completely off topic altogether for certain episodes, and some brilliant episodes. What I like about it is that it's almost like a balance between the surreal and the realistic.
Okay.
In the sense that it's very realistic in the sense where, rather than having a story like, I don't know, like something like Star Wars, for example, Episode 3, where the good guy finally wins and stuff like that. It's not the case here whatsoever.
Episode 3, they actually lost, but we won't get into it.
No, I meant episode... I meant...
6.
Yeah, that's what I meant, episode 6, sorry. Shows how much I know.
Yeah, there you go.
But it shows how realistic it is. Like, you know, well, no, he just gets in crappy situations. He's always going to fail, like, in this sort of situations. But it's based on it's more realistic.
Okay.
But the surreal bit is some of the scenes that come into it, which are just really so unusual. Like, there's a scene, for example, where I don't know, where there's a guy on the episode, the very first episode, the pilot episodes.
Okay.
Ern has his daughter in the bus. A guy sits beside him, takes out a loaf of bread and a jar of Nutella.
Jar of Nutella?
And starts making these sandwiches while singing all this unusual poetry. Would you like a bite? They go into a tunnel, he disappears. The Nutella is still in the bus, on the seat beside him.
So it's really out there.
Oh yes,
that's really out there.
To the point where let me tell you some of the it's so surreal moments includes a black student wearing a white face in class.
Doing white face?
No, think about that for a second.
Yeah, okay.
A strip club DJ speaking to Ern, saying, "Come here, why haven't you tipped?" Yeah, I'm speaking to you with the stupid jacket and the rag-ass Coca-Cola shirt. Yeah, just give her a tip.
Yeah, it's a little bit out there.
Yeah, you have this really funny character called Darius, who is the rapper's roommate.
Okay.
He has all these unusual hobbies, like and all this weird fashion sense and stuff like that. Like, I think he makes candles out of like one of those syringes or something like that. You know, those torches.
Yeah.
That you have to wear the mask for and stuff like that. So. And but again, it's fantastic. Like, even there's one scene. The best one is the glowing chicken wings.
The glowing chicken wings,
where he puts on this special sauce and he opens it. It's like Austin Powers Gold Member, where it shines when he opens it. It's like these for this. It's like this for this. I forget what the chicken wings were called. Something pepper wet chicken wings. I'm like, oh, they're gold.
Now, I've actually seen because we were talking about what you were going to talk about, and I had never seen Atlanta, so I kind of Googled it earlier on, and apparently there's a chain of restaurants in America that people were going so crazy for these chicken wings. They actually have these chicken wings now on the menu.
That's it. Like, they're so on demand now because of basically that episode, particularly in Atlanta, where I don't know how much of a connoisseur for chicken wings they are. I imagine, it's Southern America, like fried chickens.
Southern America, they'd be big into their fried food, especially fried chicken. They have fried chicken, they have steak fried chicken, they have chicken fried, steak fried chicken. So they like their fried foods in Southern America. Indeed, and I imagine chicken wings would be high on that menu.
But what's really cool about this thing as well is, yes, it has its regular plot that goes through Ern, but it has all these other perspectives for certain characters.
So there's small subplots in it as well.
Exactly. Like, for example, right, you have the mother of Ern's child, who's her on-off girl, Vanessa. She sees a friend. They kind of go back and forth over, her situation, and she's well better off her friends and stuff like that. They end up smoking a joint in the car. She gets a text the next morning saying, "Oh, there's a drug test today." And she works as a teacher for an elementary school. So what she does is she borrows her child's pee, gets it in a little plastic bag, tapes it against her thigh, goes in, and when she has to get the test, she goes into the toilets then to get this pee, but she has to bite the tape off, and what happens? Spills everywhere. She explains her actions, but she gets fired because at the end of the day she couldn't take it for whatever reason. So
yeah, that's I'm gonna have to try this. I'm gonna have to try this series now.
But I have to tell you about this one. That the freakiest episode above all, though, is an episode called Teddy Perkins, which I imagine you've heard of now.
I have heard of this, but I don't know anything about it. So explain this.
So this has gone back to Darius now, who doesn't. This is his main perspective episode. I find, because he works as a delivery driver by trade, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a horror episode in the sense where. To spoil it, basically he's trying to collect this piano from this musician Teddy Perkins, who basically is Michael Jackson and James Brown put together.
Okay,
but or certainly James Brown and Michael Jackson's prosthetics put together.
Right, so so he looks like Michael Jackson, but he has the personality of
he has James Brown's face, except he has Michael Jackson's prosthetics. If that makes sense. Like, he has the hair, he has the same build.
Yeah.
The most fascinating thing about this is Don Glover himself plays him.
Oh, sweet Jesus, okay.
He speaks like this. Oh, look at this film.
So it goes a little bit like this.
But the way they film it is so clever. Because they have all these situations, all these voyeur-esque camera angles that make it so creepy. It makes you think someone's watching, and it's in a very dimly lit house. Like, as well, like it's really, and it's hard to see because there's this movie that's playing in his his study, if you like, where he's watching I think it's his brother play piano, who happens to be in the basement in a wheelchair, basically recovering from prosthetics, for better or worse term.
God, Jesus!
He ends up killing him.
Yeah,
Teddy Perkins, before killing himself.
That one episode alone makes me want to watch it. I'm a big horror fan. I love horror genres. I love Freddy, I love Jason, I love Michael. And as soon as you said horror, it instantly piqued my interest.
But even some of the episodes are they again, going back to surrealism and realism. Some of the episodes make you think, okay, wait a second, the combination here, something's weird here. It's realistic of what they're doing, but it makes you think so much. The realism of almost brings you back into reality. That's the beauty of TV programming. And there's so many examples. The weirdest one is there's episodes where the rapper Paperboy is his rapper name. Mm-hmm. He's against one of his people. He's against in this basketball game is a black rapper named Justin Bieber.
He's a black rapper named Justin Bieber.
Now, what he does, he has this really awful attitude. He pushes the CDs off the chair. He gives all these. He disrespects reporters. He pees on the locker room. He swears at the fans, and then he apologizes for his actions by releasing a song called "Sorry." But here's the point.
Go on. Before I come here,
the whole point is of that program is would the real Justin Bieber's behavior be perceived as different if he were black?
Oh,
and would our culture forgive a white Bieber or frown upon a black Bieber? That's the point of that program.
The white Bieber would probably be forgiven instantly by his fans. Black Bieber would probably be put in prison.
Which is another big twist to this show. Like, it does perceive what it's like to be a black man in the United States. Okay. Because again, it's I don't know if you watch the news too much, but it has about all the situation that goes there. But there's a lot of racial tension sometimes.
For me, I do follow the news in America a lot. Even when I was in New York, we had NBC and CNN on. I didn't go near that Fox because that's crap.
Yeah. No, you're better off.
It's a very let's say an interesting time for Americans at the minute, and I'm not going to go too political in what I'm saying here, but I think a lot of people need to be very careful, especially in America. And if you're a mixed race, or if you're black or minority or whatever, you need to be very careful. But I think we got very serious there. But that's obviously, that's what part of Atlanta's show is.
I know, but again, it puts it in such a perspective. But the whole surrealism is also so strange. The most surreal moments of all that I've seen, like one of the ones is, do you know how celebrities try and spend their money in order to get attention? Like you see them all showing off with a certain car, a certain boat and
absolutely.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with no really meaning at all. But it shows us a realism that doesn't always have to mean something. So there was a scene where they're in a nightclub. There's this NBA player who drives away, and I'm not joking you, an invisible car.
In an invisible car.
I'm not joking you, okay? There's a
would that be like the Donald Trump invisible planes that they have?
No,
the stealth planes that he thinks are invisible?
But here's what happens. He gets in this. There's some sort of shooting that happens outside the club. You see him sitting down as if he was in an invisible car, drives off and knocks 3 people down, and it looks so.
I have to watch this show. This is too good not to watch. I have to watch this show.
There's 2 more episodes I just want to mention. There's one episode called the Juneteenth episodes.
Juneteenth.
Now, if you don't know what Juneteenth is, it's basically the date which celebrates the end of slavery in the United States.
Okay, cool.
So, so the main guy who's the owner of this house, he predicts Ern's ancestry by his facial features. Okay, so where are you from? Are you from Congo? Are you from the Ivory Coast? Western region. I'm like, this thing called slavery happened, so I don't know what happened exactly. But he thought, but it's so strange, like how, like almost they're celebrating it, but he was the only white person in this party. His wife is black, and he was invited by, I think, the wife. They worked together. I don't know what happens, but imagine this, right? Now, he's the only white man in this room. He is saying a poem for Jim Crow, that's inspired by Jim Crow, who, if you don't know, is that guy who's famous for blackface in the United States.
Okay.
He's the only white man who says a poem about slavery from the perspective of a black man on the day slavery finished. As if it was a rap song.
I don't know how to respond to that. White people are cray-cray. Just a little bit.
That's not even the most shocking thing for me is the cocktail menu in the house. It's inspired. It's named after certain situations of I forget, don't know what they are, but they're named after slavery, like situations. Like I think I don't even know what the names of them are. I don't have them written down. I'm prepared notes, but I haven't.
I really want to watch this. So you have literally sold. Literally, we're talking about 10 minutes on this, and you have sold me on watching this show. Even though when I saw the trailer earlier on, I was like, this is some crazy shit, man. I'm not going to watch this. I have to watch it. For 2 reasons. You have sold me on it, and the fact that Donald Glover is in it and has written it.
Again, but Donald Glover is incredibly creative in like everything he does. Really,
everything,
right
now. He's a big movie star now. He's in the solo film. Now, obviously, that didn't do too well, but that wasn't his fault.
You have to watch. Have you watched his? Have you? I can't imagine you being a hip hop fan. Neither.
I'm not. No.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm not.
But I've seen his video as research.
Yes.
His hip hop persona is called Childish Gambino.
I've heard the song and I've watched the video.
Oh, you've watched the video?
Yes, and it's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
So that pose he does before he shoots the first guy, that's the Jim Crow pose.
That's the Jim... Okay, right.
And the reason he shoots the choir is inspired by the Charlestown shootings.
Oh, right.
Because ironically it was 9 people who died in that. And there was 9 people in that choir.
God, he's very good, isn't he?
He's very clever.
Creative.
And the reason they have... He's doing all these dances, and these particular dances and faces are inspired by...
By the way, your dance there was fantastic.
Oh, I just was shaking around my chair. What are you talking about?
Ladies and gentlemen, obviously, you're listening to this, you're not watching it. Dave just got up and he danced, and it was absolutely amazing. Looked exactly like Childish Gambino.
I'll serve you. But no, but again, like all these particular dances are actually inspired by certain areas of racial divide.
Okay.
There's this dance he does where he moves his leg and his arm.
Yeah.
Was a dance apparently from the South African apartheid.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's really detailed.
He's fantastically talented, isn't he? Wow.
The main purpose of that video was, especially with the dancing, and you notice all this weird stuff that's gone around all the dancing. The whole point of that is because he's trying to make it clear that the entertainment stuff that happens in America overshadows all the real stuff that's going on. So all these riots, all these shootings are completely blocked by the actual entertainment industry.
Yeah, you will look at the news and there won't be much on it. A lot of Golden Globes or the Emmy Awards or the Oscars, or George Clooney took a shit. But then you don't see a lot of the crap that happens in America. And Donald Glover is trying to illustrate that in the video. He's so good. He's such a good actor. Such a good actor. But right, well, we've talked about your nerdiness. We've talked about my nerdiness. We've a lot coming this year, ladies and gentlemen. We've a lot of good shows coming. As I say, we've got the debates. We're going to have a lot of really, really good guests on. But Dave, I think it's that time again It's that time again for a little quiz.
Indeed it is.
A little quiz. And for this time, it's my quiz. And I'm not overly confident.
Really?
There it is. There's I was supposed to say Master Chef. That's the mastermind music.
Master Chef.
Master Chef. I could cook you up a lovely dinner, Dave. I don't have the equipment now or the food, but I could cook.
So before we move on, what's the record? The record is Foxy at the moment.
Foxy, I think he's on 8.
Is it 8?
I think he's 8.
Okay, so
he was a high number. Foxy was a high number.
I think Vic got 4 and Rick only got 3. I think
Rick got 3.
Yeah.
Vic got 4. Yeah, so it's 8 is the number to beat.
So these are Lord of the Rings questions now. So and again, thinking you'd be really advanced in this is as hard as I could find. So I don't know how well you got this.
I hope you got movie questions rather than book questions, because if you got book questions, I'm screwed.
I like to think these are more from movies.
Okay.
I like to think.
Right.
I'm told these are, if you're true Lord of the Rings fans, you should know this.
Right, okay.
So, okay, should we get straight to it?
Yeah, let's go straight to it.
Alright, now first of all, I apologise for if I don't pronounce this right first time.
Okay.
So here we go. What are Durrance folk more commonly known as?
Dwarfs.
That's correct.
Oh, we have the sounds and
Of course,
all.
no, it has to be the sounds, okay.
And you said that fine, Durrance folk is spot on.
Okay. What kind of creatures are the spawn of Ungoliath?
Ungoliath.
Yeah.
Balrogs? Oh, no.
It's giant spiders.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay, now this next one's a choice question, okay? Multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
Which of these is not a public inn in Middle-earth? The Old Guest House, the Green Dragon, the Prancing Pony, or the Southern Star?
Well, I know the Prancing Pony. But say them again to me,
Okay,
Dave.
the Old Guest House,
Yeah.
the Green Dragon,
Yeah.
the Prancing Pony,
Green Dragon and Prancing Pony are.
and the Southern Star.
How many are right and how many are wrong?
So which of these is not of those 4?
Do we give you one answer or 2 answers or 3
Just
answers?
one answer.
Just one. I'm going to go with the first one.
The Old Guest House?
Yeah. Oh, see, this is not in the movies.
It's a Southern
You
Star.
lied.
I never said if they were in the... I'm guessing these are the movies. This is a true one.
So I've gotten 2 wrong now.
Yeah. There's a goal.
So I need to get every other question right. Crap.
Yeah. Okay, next question. What do the elves call the hobbits?
Oh, now. Oh, I know it, but it's right on the tip of my tongue. It won't come out. Halflings. No. Oh, God.
The answer is the Imperinates, if I'm pronouncing that
Yeah,
right.
no, none of these are from the films.
You said you read the books.
Yeah, I read them about 18 years ago.
I'd like to think you might get this one, okay?
Okay, go
What
on.
marks the start of the Third Age?
What marks the start of the Third Age? Oh, God. The defeat of Sauron?
That's correct. Specifically, it's the start of the defeat of Perrin at the hands of the last lines of...
The last alliance of elves and men, yes.
Well, I'll give you that.
Okay.
Now, this next one's another multiple choice question. Which of these is not an elvish language?
Right.
Is it Queendra, Taliska, Talarin, or Sindarin? So which of them are not an elvish language?
This is pure guesswork, because I don't remember them at all. I'm going to go with the first one.
Queendra?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh, Christ. I'm doing as bad as Rick here.
Taliska is the only one that isn't elvish.
How many have I gotten right so far? 3, is it?
It's 2.
2?
Only, yeah.
How many questions have I got left?
You have 4 questions left.
I need to get at least 2 more. I need to beat Rick.
God,
I won't be able to use that lovely sound anymore of I made the low blows if I don't get at least 2 more
God,
questions
I felt
right.
I put you through this, man. I'm so sorry. What does Farmer Maggot keep people off his farm bang furlong?
Say that question.
So how does Farmer Baggett keep people off his farm bang furlong?
How does he keep them off it?
So his farm bang furlong.
How does he keep them? How does he keep people away?
Yes.
if I were to go by the movies, and it's only briefly done, sets the dogs on them. Oh,
A pack of trained dogs, I'll give you that. So,
oh, thank God. Right, so I'm on 3.
Yeah, on 3.
So I need one more to beat Rick.
3 questions left.
Okay.
What are the palindrimi, and how many of them are there?
The seeing stones, the Palantirs, they're seeing stones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay, and how many of them are there? You have to get both right to get this right.
I want to say 7.
7?
Oh,
that's a great guess.
Beating his ass.
So you've already got
beating his ass.
You already got 4. So
now I need to beat Vic.
Yeah. So this
I need one more to beat Vic.
Okay. So what are the 2 watchers? So I'll give you a clue to this. It's something somewhere.
The 2 watchers.
Yes. What are the 2 watchers?
They are statues on the. I don't know the name of the river, but they're 2 statues on the river.
Can you give me more detail of where it is?
As you enter Gondor.
I can't give you that, I'm sorry. Specifically, I was looking for gargoyles at the entrance of the tower of the Sea Riff Ungoyle.
Oh, no, what I was saying was completely wrong.
Alright, last question.
Okay. One more to beat Vic.
What Sindarin word was Aragorn known as when he was a child? I'll give you a clue to this. It means hope or trust.
Oh, I think I know this, but again, it's like one of those things that's on the tip of your tongue. A word popped into my head there, but it's no, that's Gandalf. Gandalf's no, there's Mithrandir.
So what Mandarin words was Aragorn known as when he was a child? Means hope or trust.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
The answer was Estelle.
Never knew it.
No,
never knew. I had something else in my head, but I don't know what it was.
But you still did.
So I got 4.
Yep. Well, you know what?
I still beat Rick.
Yeah, but you're even with.
So I can still use this lovely sound, ladies and gentlemen. Every time it ends, every time there's like right at the end, I have to laugh. Okay, I got 4. That's not too bad.
That's all right.
That's not too bad.
You're right in the middle.
I'm definitely. I tell you what, I'll do another one. Obviously not today, but I'll do another one. But I'll do it on the Hobbit. The next time, because I might get a few more.
Okay,
right.
Do you want to try one with Star Wars or Star Trek next time?
I tell you, let's get some Star Wars and Star Trek guests on, and then and then we'll go for. Maybe I'll do a head-to-head quiz with them.
Well, again, we have all. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm thinking because ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a former wrestler, or maybe I wouldn't say former wrestler, but he is a wrestler, and he's an MMA guy now, and he's a big rugby guy, rugby pundit. Keegan Ward will be on the show very soon, and he said he's going to come on and talk to us about a bit of Star Trek. I'd like to go head to head with Keegan, absolutely, because I think that'd be interesting. Because out of all the Star Treks, Next Generation I would know, and Deep Space Nine I would know, and I think. Me and him would have not only an interesting chat, but yeah, that could be good, a nice head-to-head. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to keep you too much longer. We'll have a lot of good shows ahead. 2019 is looking very, very interesting. We have debates, we have talks, we have massive shows coming. I hope you've enjoyed what we did in 2018. 2019 is going to be even better. So from between myself and Dave, I've been Gerry, you've been Nerdy. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.